within the city were so straitly beset that nothing could be brought into us, the country round about being in the hands of the enemy. Their trenches were drawn close up to the walls, and their great ordnance played continually upon us. Every day we lost men, and our provisions grew scant. The soldiers were faint for want of meat, and the poor inhabitants suffered more than we. There was not a house in York but felt the enemy's shot. The streets were covered with broken tiles and stones, and it was a misery to go abroad. The bells had long ceased to ring, for we durst not go up into the steeples, lest the enemy should make their mark of us. Our powder was spent apace, and the garrison worn with watching and labour. Many fell sick with the stench of dead men and horses. The poorer sort, that had nothing left, would cry unto the soldiers for food. Yet we could give them none, for ourselves had little but bread and water. When Prince Rupert came to our relief, we thought ourselves delivered, but our joy was soon turned into sorrow. For upon Marston Moor we saw that bloody day, where our army was utterly broken and overthrown. Then we within York looked every hour when the enemy should again sit down before us, and at last, by order from the Prince, the city was rendered, and we marched forth with our arms, leaving York to the Parliament.
Having closely beset the city of York, we planted our batteries upon all quarters, and kept strict watch that no provision might be brought unto them. Their horse would often sally forth upon us, especially towards the east, where the walls were lowest, but still we drave them back with loss. The works were strong, and the citizens resolute, for they knew the place to be the key of the north. Many assaults we gave, and many were beaten off, yet by degrees we gained ground. We took their outworks and made our approaches near the gates. The Scots lay on one side, our army on another, and the Earl of Manchester's on the south, so that all hope of relief seemed cut off. They within fired much shot amongst us. Divers of our men were slain in the trenches. It was a service full of toil and danger, the summer being extreme hot, and we lying in the open fields. Provisions were scarce, and sickness fell upon many. About the end of June we received certain intelligence that Prince Rupert was advancing with a great power to raise the siege. Upon this we drew off our forces to Marston Moor, leaving a guard before the city. The fight that ensued was most fierce and bloody, but the Lord gave us the victory. After that day, York held out but a short time, for the garrison, finding their hopes cut off and their provisions spent, desired parley. The place was rendered, and so ended that long and sore siege.
Our army came before York about the 22nd of April, and ever since we have lain about it, in much labour and danger. The city is exceeding strong, both by art and nature, being compassed with deep ditches and strong walls. The enemy within, commanded by the Marquis of Newcastle, are stout men and make great resistance. We have been these many weeks digging and casting up our works, and the English on the other sides have done the like. The ground is hard and full of water. Many of our men fall sick with the toil, and not a few have died. Yet still we press on, drawing our lines nearer. Oftentimes they make sallies upon us, especially by night, and it goes hotly with sword and musket ere they are driven back. The shot from their great guns doth much harm. Our tents and huts are often beaten down, and many good men slain. Yet the Lord strengthens our hearts, and we faint not. The city is well furnished with victuals, and we cannot cut them off from the river Ouse, which brings them relief. The English lords are now come up, Manchester, Fairfax, and others, so that we are mighty strong about the place. But there is much debate amongst them concerning command, which troubles the whole army. About the end of June we heard that Prince Rupert was coming fast upon us with great force. Upon this we rose from our trenches and marched to meet him. The day of Marston Moor will never be forgotten. It was the most cruel fight that ever I saw or heard tell of in our nation. The Lord gave us a mighty victory. The enemy fled and left the field full of their slain. After that, York could hold no longer, and within a fortnight they rendered to the great joy of all good men.
It is not possible to express the misery we have suffered in this city since the enemy sat down before it. From the beginning of May, no victuals could be brought unto us, for all the country round was in their hands. The price of bread rose daily, till a small loaf was sold for a groat, and there was little flesh to be had but that of horse or dog. Many of the poor people died in their houses of want. The soldiers kept their watch continually upon the walls, for the enemy's shot never ceased by day nor night. The sound of their great guns was so dreadful that the very air seemed to shake. Many houses were beaten down, and divers poor creatures buried in the ruins. The churches were filled with women and children that fled from the streets, thinking to be safer there, yet oftentimes the bullets came through the windows and slew them. When the news came that Prince Rupert was marching to our relief, we rejoiced exceedingly, thinking our deliverance was near. But after the bloody fight at Marston Moor, all hope was gone. The faces of the soldiers grew pale, and the people fell to weeping in the streets. At last there was talk of yielding. Our powder and meal were almost spent, and sickness raged sore among us. On the 16th of July, the Marquess of Newcastle departed secretly in the night, and soon after, the city was rendered. We that remained had leave to keep our houses, but were constrained to deliver up our arms. Thus ended our long and doleful siege.
Upon the 14th day after Marston Moor, we were commanded to make ready to deliver up the city. Never did I behold so sad a sight among Englishmen. The soldiers that had so long stood upon the walls in defence of York were now drawn up in the streets with tears upon their faces. We were permitted to march forth with our arms, our colours flying, and a guard of the enemy attending us. The drums beat a slow march, and the sound echoed most dolefully amongst the ruined houses. Many of the citizens stood weeping as we passed, some blessing us for our courage, others lamenting their own misery now that all was lost. When we came without the gates, the Parliament's men stood in ranks to behold us. They looked proudly upon us, yet offered no word of scorn. We laid down our arms upon the plain, and so were dismissed. I turned about to see York once more, the city smoking, her walls battered, her people broken. Thus ended the fairest and stoutest defence that ever I was part of.